Afternoon, everybody. A webcast of this meeting will be published to Council's website at www.liverpoolplains.newsouthwales.gov.au so that it is available for viewing by members of the public. Acknowledgement of country and council prayer, Councillor Miles.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Today we gather on the land of the Kamilaroi Nation. We therefore need to acknowledge the traditional owners and custodians of this land. We also pay our respects to the Aboriginal elders, both past and present, and further extend that respect to other adults who have joined us today. Council prayer. Lord, we ask that you watch over this council, guide us in our deliberations and decisions for the betterment of all the people of our Shire and Australia. Amen.
Councillor Miles. Apologies and applications for leave of absence. The recommendation that the leave of absence from Councillor Donald Lawson be received and accepted. Do I have a mover?
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Miles, seconded. Councillor Allen. Anyone wishing to add anything to that? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 3.1, minutes of the council meeting held on the 22nd of November 2023. The recommendation that the minutes of the council meeting held on the 22nd of November 2023 be received and the recommendations therein be adopted. Do I have a mover? Councillor Cudmore, seconder. Councillor Wynne, did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Cudmore?
No, thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 3.2, minutes of the extraordinary council meeting held on the 27th of November 2023. The recommendation that the minutes of the extraordinary council meeting held on the 27th of November 2023 be received and the recommendations therein be adopted. Do I have a mover? Councillor Miles, and seconder. Councillor Allen, did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Miles?
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Disclosures of interest. There being no disclosures of interest. Item 5, mayoral minute. Recommendation that council receive and note the mayoral minute for November 2023. And I wish to move this report. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Cudmore. Anyone wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 6.1, Executive Services Report for November 2023. Recommendation that council receive and note the Executive Services Report for November 2023. Do I have a mover? Councillor Cudmore, a seconder. Councillor Wynne, did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Cudmore?
Yeah, just quickly, on the recruitment side of things, how are we actually travelling with our recruitment and can you just give us a bit of an up-to-date on what's happening, please?
General Manager.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, yes, Councillor Cudmore, I can advise that in the period to date, we've had 31 recruitments. That's both across the board, indoor and outdoor staff, so that's quite a significant effort. So I want to congratulate the Manager of Human Resources and her team. It's been a big effort in a very tight labour market. So in terms of recruitment, the turnaround is a lot quicker than it has been in the past, but it's still very tight and finding good staff is tough.
Thank you.
Did you wish that was it?
All right, thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 6.2, resolution register update. Recommendation that council receive and note the resolution register as at the 1st of December 2023, appended at Annexure A, and the resolution register for 2022 as appended at Annexure B. Do I have a mover? Councillor Carr, seconder. Councillor Allen, did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Carr?
Just through you, Mr. Mayor, just a quick question in relation to the resolution 2023-163 in relation to the water fee that was relinquished to the Greenlight Golf Club. I know that there's been no reaction from the golf club for information that was requested. Just wondering whether that could be followed up or whether we could chase that up. Thank you.
General Manager.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, yes, Councillor Carter will definitely follow that one up. Thank you.
Councillor Carr, you're right on that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Anyone wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 6.4, Statement of Investments for November 2023. Recommendation that Council 1 receive and note the Statement of Investments as of the 30th of November 2023 as appended at Annexure A. Was that mover? Oh, I jumped on, have I? Did I?
Yeah.
My apologies. We'll go back to 6.3. Item 6.3, Corporate and Community Services Directorate Report for November 2023. The recommendation that Council receive and note the Corporate and Community Services Directorate briefing for November 2023 as detailed in this report. Do I have a mover? Councillor Allen, seconder. Councillor Cudmore, did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Allen?
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion?
Could please, Mr.
Councillor Cullen? Yep.
Just a comment in relation to the Greenlight Aquatic Centre redevelopment project. Look, with the weather that we're experiencing and the situation at home, this pool closed, it's really just continuing to be a really bad look for council at this point in time. We really need to see somehow get some sort of action happening at the site, I think, to give the community some confidence that council is actually going ahead with this project as planned.
General Manager?
Thank you, Councillor, through you, Mr. Mayor. We have been, you recall, or you may not, because you may not have been here at a previous council meeting, we received a report or presented a report to council regarding the demolition tender. That was rejected by the council. We have subsequently sought additional prices for the demolition. We've got ourselves to a point where we have determined we've got a preferred supplier, and we expect that there'll be some work, demolition works occurring mid to late January. So there certainly will be some work being seen on the ground. Well, I think we've got some shade cloth stuff around the pool that will happen, I think, by the end of this week, but if not by the end of this week, early next week. So there's just a lot of stuff going on in the background. We'll start to see some things happening early in the new year.
Thank you, Dean. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Cullen? Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 6.4. Statement of Investments for November 2023. The recommendation that Council receive and note the Statement of Investment as at the 30th of November 2023 as appended at Annexure A. Do I have a mover?
So, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Cullen, seconder. Councillor Cudmore, did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Cullen?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 6.5, Corporate Credit Card Policy. Recommendation that Council adopt the draft credit card policy as appended at Annexure A. Do I have a mover? Councillor Cudmore, seconded Councillor Miles. Did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Cudmore?
No, thanks, Mr Mayor.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Miles?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'm in support of this, and that's why I've seconded it. I would like to ask if I could have some further information on page 51 on the 4 dot points. I feel that the dot points are quite significant in the management of this amount for the card. I'm wondering if the 60,000 is something that general councils have that sort of limit, and it's just a little bit open as to which cards may not be used in section 6.6, and the same with the last dot point line to 6.9. So I'm just wondering if somebody could maybe expand on those for me, but I'm supportive of it because I know the money that goes through council, and I think we need to up the limit because of the cost of goods and things. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
General Manager?
Through you, Mr Mayor, what we've done with the overall limit is looking to have a standardised approach so that the directors will have a certain limit, managers will have a certain limit, and then there'll be other people within the organisation who will have particular limits on their cards dependent upon their use, so not necessarily their position. So as a result of that, the 30 we're recommending goes to the 60. This is not unusual. The amounts that we are putting on the cards are not unusual. Yeah, there's certainly nothing untoward there. I think in terms of the circumstances with the cards may not be used, it really is around things such as personal use and really being explicit, not used for petrol and some of those sorts of things. So it's really us being really explicit with the staff about this is what you can use it for, this is what you can't use it for. So we've certainly got that level of control over it, and the policy itself has been guided by some work that the Office of Local Government did some time ago in reviewing the way councils use credit cards across the sector. They've developed some recommendations and we've built upon that and added to what or built our policy around what they're recommending.
Thank you, Mr Frost. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 6.6, Annual Code of Conduct Complaint Stats Return for 2023. The recommendation that Council 1 receive and note the Annual Code of Conduct Complaints Statistics Return for 2022-2023 appended at Annexure A. Do I have a mover?
So, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Cullen, a second to Councillor Cudmore. Did you wish to speak with Councillor Cullen?
No, Mr Mayor.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 6.7, Agreement with Corindi High School Plains Fitness 2024. Recommendation that Council 1 approve in principle the following fees and charges covering Corindi High School and students of Corindi High School to access the facilities at Plains Fitness. A, full membership to students aged 16 years and over $20 per month from the month of joining to December 31st of 2024. B, 2 weekly structured fitness sessions for 6 support students at $50 per session during school terms in 2024. C, access to Plains Fitness for physical education and sports sessions at $5 per student during school terms in 2024. 2, in accordance with section 610F of the New South Wales Local Government Act 1993, the in-principle agreement is placed on public exhibition for a period of 28 days. 3, at the conclusion of the public exhibition period, any submissions will be reviewed and a report presented at the February Council meeting. 4, if there are no submissions regarding the in-principle agreement at the conclusion of the public exhibition period, the in-principle agreement will be endorsed and enacted. Do I have a mover?
Mr Mayor.
Councillor Cullen, Councillor Cudmore. Did you wish to speak to the Councillor Cullen?
Yes, Mr Mayor. Just in relation to the 28-day period of public exhibition. I just note that in the recent days, I have been informed that there will be a private gym, or there may be a private gym set up in Quirindi. I just wondered with this 28 days of exhibition, are we giving anyone some pre-warning of what kind of fees and costs might be through the council to the school?
Gentleman,
Thank you, Mr Mayor and Councillor Cohen. We may well be doing that, but we're hands tied in terms of what we need to do under the Local Government Act. You'll recall every year when we do our fees and charges, it's quite a significant and thick document that pretty much covers does cover everything that we charge. So, but I think certainly the agreement that we have with the school, is really building upon the work that has been done in previous years related to the aquatic facilities, the fact that council's invested in the Plains Fitness Centre, improved the quality of the offering that we have there, has really encouraged the school to continue to work with us, even though that the Quirindi swimming pool is not in operation.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Frost. And I'd like to just further add that I think the upgrades and what's happened with our local facility is to be commended, and the 24-hour service now being there, I think is a great step forward for us. And it's been proven in some of the figures that we're being reported at the moment. So yeah, thank you very much.
thank you, Councillor Cohen. Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 6.8, local advisory groups. Recommendation that council receive and note the minutes of the Currabubula Local Advisory Group as appended at Annexure A. Do I have a mover? Councillor Claymore, seconder. Councillor Allen, did you wish to speak with Councillor Claymore?
No, thanks, Mr Mayor.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 6.9, Infrastructure and Environmental Services Directorate Report for November 2023. The recommendation that council receive and note the Infrastructure and Environmental Services Directorate Report for the month of November 2023. Do I have a mover? Councillor Allen, seconder. Councillor Cutmore, did you wish to speak with Councillor Allen?
No, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Cutmore.
Just a couple of things. Can I just have an update on the two bridges? I'm not quite sure how it reads about the Girton Street Bridge. Just what we're up to there, and also the landfill. What's the go of the landfill? We'll just have an update on that with the Northern Regional Planning Panel and what it entails and whether it's still going. Thank you.
Gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. So Councillor Cullen, with regards to the bridges, we've got the pole designs have been redone for driven poles, which was part of the lower cost offering. That has all been confirmed and they are suitable to do that. We have a variation application going in for some additional funding with Transport for New South Wales if we can achieve it. The contractor has been getting their bits and pieces in line with their management plans and making sure the pole design is done, ready to start early in the new year.
But do we need the extra funding to be able to do it or not?
So when we awarded the contract, there was the resolution included funding from our roads budget to cover it. So if we don't get the state government funding, we still have the budget available to do it. The state government funding would give us a bit of contingency with it as well. And regarding the landfill, so the Northern Regional Planning Panel is the consent authority for the development application for the Willow Tree landfill. So they met in November to discuss our application. They had some concerns around how the environmental impact statement was structured, and the fact there's a lack of information on how we're actually going to operate the landfill in the longer term, so they have deferred their decision. We're working on getting that information for them, and I think the meeting is likely going to be held in March next year. So it delays the project. The contractor we have engaged is amenable to the delay. They're not going to charge us anything for it or anything along those lines, so they're happy to work with us on that and it fits in with their program. So it's not a showstopper, it just has a bit of a delay effect to when we can start construction of the landfill. So
Sorry, Adam. But what does that entail to delay for them to say how we're going to run it? How do you normally run a tip facility? So what's so special about the Wurundjeri landfill?
unfortunately, Councillor, I can't really answer that question because I'm not part of the assessing panel. So it would come down to how you're going to manage data cover. They want to understand the breakdown of waste that's going to come in, so how much is addressable, how much is not addressable, how much is household, how much is industrial. Management of where they drop it off exactly and how we transport it in the facility. It's a pretty broad scope of things that they want us to look at in the draft form. And normally, this is an unusual request in my understanding, in my experience, because a DA is for the land use, it's not for how you actually do the work. So it's a very strange request to have to deal with that, and certainly I'll put that point forward through the planning panel meeting with them, but they don't want to see a draft operational plan before they even consider approving.
So can I stop them?
Yes, they could.
Thank you. Councillor Miles?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I actually have a question in regards to the Werris Creek Industrial Precinct. This has not been an overnight project, it's been going on for probably 3 or 4 years, and I know we've had a few hurdles along the way. I'm just reading here, we've dealt with a lot of external people and we've had to have a review of the environmental factors. That's all well and good. I'm just wondering what this ecologically endangered community is that's involved with this industrial precinct. I've lived in the town since 1979 and I really don't know what would be endangered out there in that little bit of area. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
General Manager?
Through you, Mr Mayor, it's plains grass, so it's plains grass that we have endemic to this area. So it's
Plains grass.
Yes.
Right.
So it is identified as an ecologically endangered community in the legislation. It is present in that location. It is present in other locations in the vicinity, but none of them are close enough to be considered part of the same community. So the works we're doing will essentially destroy the little patch of that is in that location. So we have to do an offset.
Can't dig it up and put it over there. No, come on, you know, if it's fair dinkum, I'm happy with it. But when you've had 3, 5 years and then all of a sudden you read something like that, you think, you know, are these guys fair dinkum or what? Truly.
I understand the frustration, Councillor, but it's...
If it had come from the Aboriginal people that were plains grass there when they were here, I'd have said fair enough. But to me, this is just trying to stall a project. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 6.10, exhibited draft keeping of animals policy. Recommendation that Council 1, repeal the keeping of animals in urban areas policy. 2, adopt the draft keeping of animals in residential areas policy as appended at Annexure A. 3, give public notice of the adoption of the keeping of animals in residential areas policy. Do I have a mover? Councillor Wynne, seconded. Councillor Cutmore. Did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Wynne?
Not at this moment, thank you. Not at this moment, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Miles.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I don't have the old policy in front of me, so I'm looking at page 97. And a dot point, broaden the application of the policy to include closely settled areas within the rural zones. I've had a few issues with dogs within town recently that I've been around speaking to residents, but over the weekend, I actually had a farmer ask me how this policy was going to assist him in stopping town dogs coming out and killing his sheep. I'm just wondering if maybe that first dot point could be explained a little more to me, please. Thanks, Mr Mayor.
General Manager.
Through you, Mr Mayor. So the policy, we changed the definition of how we define the land. So the previous policy used the land zoning to determine what was urban or not. This time we've used the Local Government Act definition of land. So a prime example would be Warra. It is rurally zoned for land purposes, but it is a village zone in rates. So it links to the rating of the properties now, not the land zone of the properties. So with regards to the question about how it affects rural owner, broadly this policy won't change that. So if the dog is at large or a nuisance, they need to be reported. The ranger can investigate that and put notices on dogs and the owners to make sure they keep them contained. Policy assists in some respects, but it's predominantly around numbers of animals kept in properties rather than roaming animals.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Thank you, Mr Skelly. It does help me a little bit, but thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 6.11, town water supply status. The recommendation of council receive and note the water supply status report. Do I have a mover? Councillor Allen, a seconder. Councillor Cohen, did you wish to speak to Councillor Allen?
No, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 6.12, DA/2023/026-1658, Camillaway Highway, Corindi, proposed shed. The recommendation that Council 1 determines the development application 2023/026 pursuant to section 416 of the Environmental Planning and Assessment Act 1979 by the granting of consent subject to the conditions contained within this report. Do I have a mover? Councillor Cutmore, a seconder. Councillor Allen, did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Cutmore?
No, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 6.13, DA/2023/044-161 Henry Street, Werris Creek, proposed shed. The recommendation that Council 1 determines the development application 2023/044 pursuant to section 416 of the Environmental Planning and Assessment Act 1979 by the granting of consent subject to the conditions contained within this report. Do I have a mover? Councillor Cutmore, seconder. Councillor Miles, did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Cutmore?
No, thanks, Mr Mayor.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 7, delegates' reports, nil. Item 8, notices of motions/questions with notice, nil. 9, confidential matters, nil. Therefore, the meeting is closed at 3 p.m. Thank you.